Hi, another video on nice guy syndrome. This one's all about facing your fears. Okay, 5 minutes on facing your fears. If you are avoiding things that patently make you afraid, they don't go away, right? They'll still make you afraid tomorrow. They'll probably come up in the middle of the night. You're not taking responsibility for them. You kind of lose energy because you kind of lose your sense of agency by not facing your fears. When you stare your fears head on, you know where you stand and you start to give yourself options, routes forward. So you're giving yourself permission to take steps, right? When you avoid, when you ignore or pretend that they don't exist, you're lying to yourself, and that it just doesn't work. I've done another video somewhere about forgiveness where I talk about suffering. Suffering is pain compounded with resistance, okay? Facing your fears or avoiding your fears is kind of similar to that concept of suffering. So when you avoid your fears, it kind of compounds them. It kind of makes them take on a life of their own because you're denying them. Yeah. So that it's not as if they go away, they're still there, but you're handing over your agency to them and then pretending that they don't exist. So the end result is a real disempowerment inside of yourself, which cannot help but be reflected in all of your interactions with everything that is about you. So it's yet another example of losing or diminishing your personal power, and therefore losing that sense of play and joy and authenticity and everything it is about you that is you. So how do you face your fears? Assuming that you would kind of like to face your fears. For me personally, most of the time when you have fears, you're fearful of things which are not occurring today. Okay, so it can be useful to tell yourself that the things that you are afraid of, by definition right now, they're not occurring. I've done another video about psychological illusion. You might want to look into that. But the main thing is to reassure yourself that if you look back on all of the things in the past that you were afraid of, well, you're here, right? You did handle them all, right? Somehow or other. And I'm pretty certain that in all of the circumstances in the past, no amount of anticipating or worrying in advance would have led you to the conclusion that when you were faced with whichever fears you handled them. Yeah. So in practice, what happens is stuff occurs and we handle it, right? When we worry about it in advance and then we pretend that we have nothing to worry about, we avoid them, they kind of fester in the back of our mind. We kind of raise our stress levels, but because it's not occurring today, we're kind of focused on an unsolvable conundrum, and so it just goes round and round and round. It doesn't get anywhere. The way to do it is to stare it head on, to face your fears, to own it, enunciate it, write it down, come up with a plan. Right? I said in one of my other videos, there is nothing as fatiguing as an unfinished task. if you're avoiding your fears, it's like a massive unfinished task because you keep reminding yourself of things that you need to do to fix the risk, to fix the fear, and then you're not doing it. And you end up with a massive lack of energy because that's the only way that you can cope, that you can continue. Yeah? So try that. Try, I will handle it. I can handle it. If things occur that I am unprepared for, which is typically how, these kind of bad stories in our mind occur because we have had things in the past which we failed to anticipate, I will handle it. I don't know how today because I can't know how today. I can think about it. I can ponder potentials, but in the moment, whenever it occurs, because if I'm worrying about it today, it's not occurring, I will handle it. And in the meantime, if I'm feeling uncomfortable, that's a psychological illusion. And you can look at my other video on psychological illusion. Yeah. So it's another way for men of retaining their personal power. But let's be honest, right? Facing your fears is something which is universal to absolutely everybody. All right. Thanks for watching. If that kind of resonates, go and have a look at the others. There's a whole series of videos about this. Cheers. Bye.